morning, good day, y'all. My name is William Hill. I'm the forward deployed engineer at Render ATL. Thank you for all for joining us this morning, this day. I'm very excited to have this conversation with our guest today, Mr. Nolan Code. Nolan, how you doing this morning?
Never better. How about yourself, my friend?
I am good, man. Again, super excited to have this conversation with you, just learning a little bit about your background, the things that you do, the things you've done, the things you will do. Uh, oh no, I see someone said my mic is going in and out. So that's not ideal for this morning. Anyone else having issues hearing me? Nolan, can you hear me just fine?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. Okay, cool. Saw the comments over there. So, but yeah, don't technical difficulties. The technology is great until it isn't. But yeah, pleasure to chat with you, Nolan. So, just as a quick introduction for the audience, Nolan S. Code is the founder of the Atlanta AI and Robotics Institution, where he works full time to prepare the next generation for careers across the AI infrastructure stack. Prior to that, he was a senior solutions engineer. Correct me if I got that. Is that the correct title? Senior solutions engineer at Microsoft. So a very rich technical background. AARI, the organization's acronym for short, work goes beyond robotics. Students train across energy, silicon, data centers, models, applications, and even eventually quantum, gaining real technical experience along the way. They run a live 3-node production cluster. So robotics is just part of the work, but it's not the whole story. The robot is proof that what students can build, operate, and understand. Nolan is a builder, a leader, a speaker, and someone deeply committed to closing the digital divide through access, exposure, and hands-on learning. So again, Nolan, man, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you.
Outstanding. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thank you for Render ATL for inviting me to speak today. And I say thank you also from our 3 other partners in AARI. 3 out of the 4 are proud Morehouse graduates, such as myself. Our current 8 student entrepreneurship internship group, apprentices, as I call them, in robots, in data centers, and our many wonderful partners. Too many to list here. Thank you.
Yeah. Again, excited for this conversation. So we kind of mentioned it during your introduction that you left Microsoft as a senior solutions engineer, and you went on to start to lead AARI full time back in 2025. What made you realize that this work needed your full attention?
A few things. Thank you for the question also.
Mhm.
So I was in enterprise AI sales, right? Ranked at the top of my field. Platinum Club, $100 million deal, so on and so forth. And I could see exactly where the jobs were going, or skating towards where the puck is headed, as Wayne Gretzky once said. And then I would visit the Atlanta University Center and hear a totally different story, right? I would see brilliant students who had never touched the hardware that these jobs run on. And the gap wasn't talent, right? It was access to machines. And nobody's going to be able to close that gap part-time. So in November of 2025, I left and built AARI full-time. And trust me, I get it. Like, I saw what I made last year at Microsoft, but when you start to get to be my age, you start wondering what mark on this planet you're going to leave. And hearing the frustration in the students' voices of having the classes online, not touching real hardware. When you stop working with your hands, your mind starts lying to you. And 80% of them feel like they're not ready to work in IT, and that's why, right? And I know you're a software engineer, as we spoke about. I'll leave it at this. The software engineers were all yelling to me, and still yelling me, Nolan, the same thing. The students coming out of college can have a model that spits out some pretty code, right? But when it's time to debug, or something goes wrong in production, which it inevitably will, as you know.
Of course.
Right?
Absolutely.
They don't know how to fix it. And it was time to start thinking about things in systems and not in tools.
That's a great like insight, especially that line of like thinking in systems and not tools, because especially with the LLMs now, like you said, your writing code has become the easy part. It's now that systems thinking. You mentioned that you were a Morehouse grad. So given that you are now going back and working with the students, what evolution have you seen as far as from like when you were a student to now is like in those technical fields?
Um, hmm. Have to play a political game these days as executive director, right? In my days of school, well, I'm starting to sound like the old guy on the lawn, but in my days of school, there's a standard of excellence that had to be followed, right?
Mhm.
Uh, that I feel right now it is not. How do I know this? 80% of the students feel like they're not ready to work in IT, right?
Mhm.
And so if we don't do something about this problem now, right, the Googles and Microsofts of the world are going to stop coming to campus to recruit because the students aren't going to be able to do the job. And
Mhm.
I'll say this also, right? You brought up the 3 node cluster. You know what I love about a production cluster is that it doesn't care about your resume, your zip
Mm.
code. Either it runs or it doesn't.
Mhm.
Right? So the first time a student breaks a node and brings it back, right? Sort of break, build, fix, repeat, right? They
Mhm.
stop asking whether they belong in this industry and start asking, oh, this is for me. Right? I
Mhm.
get it now. So that's what I kind of feel like is missing is sort of that hands-on standard of excellence, and that's what we're bringing with what we're teaching in terms of AI infrastructure literacy.
Yeah, and I would even love for you, if you can, to go into a little bit deeper on that definition because a lot of people think AI now, and they're almost conflating it almost solely with generative AI, right? But I
Right.
would love for you to, if you can, just for the attendees, to go a little bit deeper into like the definition or the meaning of like AI infrastructure and what that
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely. Okay. Whew. Dr. Joy B is one of my heroes, so I hope I do this as well as she does in explaining complex things in a really simple manner. Artificial intelligence is an umbrella, right? We've been flooded in the market and marketing, as to your point, of generative AI, as we've seen with the front end models and the chatbots, your ChatGPT and Claude, et cetera, et cetera. However, those systems run on things, right? That's just the application layer that you see on your phone, right? App 7, right? Layer 7 for all my folks out there. That's not AI. AI is a data center, right? This is why I had to build one to show it. So that means, like we talked about earlier, energy, silicon infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera. However, these models were trained on text, some photos, right? Some videos, but not a lot of interaction with the real world. So the components that I'm bringing about is physical AI, right? Interaction with the physical world, like the robots you see downtown, right? And how you have to adapt to those limitations and bottlenecks. And then there's edge AI as well, which is basically running the AI closer to where the data is being run. Uh, Salute to all the hyperscalers, especially our partners, Microsoft and AWS. Love you. But I feel like the cloud should be used to train the models, right? Things that are burstable, spikeable, right? Not having your whole infrastructure there. The cloud has a place. You just have to be smart about it. So if we keep being inundated with the chatbots, right, and ignore all the robots in manufacturing that's going on in, say, China or South Korea, or even in this country of all these conferences that I go to that, let's face it, have a lack of diversity, right? Um, you you start to see the picture and how we need to start learning now, right? I keep telling the professors all the time, when the house is on fire, you don't have time to measure the buckets, right? And I'll leave it at this, right? I talk about systems a lot, right? Uh, Systems thinking, engineering over tools, right? Tools change every 6 months. Systems don't, right?
Yeah.
And if you just learn how to prompt, you're just renting relevance from whoever built the tool, right? The durable jobs and the generational wealth in this wave are the infrastructure layer that we talked about. And I want our students positioned where value accrues, not just where demos are, right? And I'll say this: start looking into finance and things like free cash flow and the supply chain of AI to find out the tools that really run it. Look up David Grains, plural, David Grains, newly minted billionaire. Very smart, very simple. Start investing in the tools that are used to build AI, right? The broadband, the fiber, the data centers, and that's where you'll find your treasure. And that's where the real money is in AI. And I feel like we're the only one teaching it at this level in terms of math, linear algebra, hands-on, and theory.
Yeah. Again, I agree with the comment there. Written relevance is a bar, and something that I've heard before too. To kind of along those lines, it was like when everybody's digging for gold, sell the shovels, and it sounds like
Exactly.
that's exactly what you're doing. So I would love to even hear because one that was fantastic of like why students need to care about this, why they need to learn about it. Do you even have some specific examples of like projects that your students have done within your lab?
Absolutely. So we currently have two cohorts, right? One is data center, one is robotics.
Mm-hmm.
We have a camp of Best Buy teenagers, 11 to 14. And so the college students teach them autonomous navigation, right? With the hook being remote control cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you like these remote control cars? Kids, wait till we teach you this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have the students, AUC students, Atlanta University Center students, ages, I want to say maybe 18 to 22, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hands-on teaching that. In fact, we're going tomorrow with Waymo to do that downtown. Purposely done because younger students relate to each other. They don't want to hear from old guys like me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by the end of that, these 10 weeks, I should say, when week maybe 2 or 3, I think, we'll have a working live data center, right, that the community can be involved in
Mm-hmm.
and know about. Salute to Microsoft, our partners in that, and QTS. And on the flip side, we should have a moving bot, right? And like you were saying before, for us, the robot is the receipt, not the curriculum, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
the sort of like prove that you can interact with the real world, and it's not just a theory, and it actually works. So those are three things that our students have come up with. The actual curriculum to teach their younger students with very little direction, right? Data center coming, moving bots coming.
Yeah, man. Again, incredible. Like, especially one of the things I definitely want to give kudos to you about is that these things are cost prohibitive, right? Like, no one can just go out there, like you said, and get access for the most part to like to these data centers and stuff. So, can you talk a little bit about how you think that could, affect Atlanta? Like again, like I said, you have roots here, having been a Morehouse grad and stuff. Like, do you think Atlanta is positioned to start to be, a growth center or like a leader in this AI infrastructure space?
Georgia Tech as well. Go Jackets.
Oh, okay. Just take it.
So, a couple of things on this. Georgia is a fantastic hub and has all the tools that it needs, right? Like, for example, connecting the bridge to QTS and the Atlanta University Center. It's 10 miles from the Atlanta University Center, right? I've had some people that I used to work with, colleagues on Microsoft, who talked about that was their first job out of college, which is QTS. To me, it was a no-brainer, right? You have
Could you tell everyone what QTS is?
excuse me. QTS
Yeah.
is a huge data center company, multiple locations, but the one I'm referring to is near the West End in Atlanta. And we've toured there many times. So these companies are seeing the same problem we are, right? Like, it's harder to train talent down the line when they're already in the workflow than it is in the beginning, which is what we're doing, right? That's why our many partners, right? Microsoft, Cisco, QTS, AWS, and Andreessen Horowitz with the Cultural Leadership Fund. Lord, please forgive me. I still box and I'm taking shots to the head if I've forgotten anybody, but charge it to the head, not the heart. see what we're seeing. And so, to your point, hardware access is very cost prohibitive, right? I'm not faulting HBCUs for this, but what we do know is HBCUs punch above their weight in many, many places, right? So if we kind of leveled the playing field, right, provided the hardware access, provided a job ecosystem, salute to AWS for that, provide not only money and resources for those who put in the work, now let's see what we have, right? Because I know going from Georgia Tech, as long as you know people, you can walk into any lab you want and touch physical hardware, right? And so we know, again, HBCUs punch above their weight in every industry. And I am very interested in bringing the standard of excellence back. No student should be worried that they don't know what they're doing working in IT. We should not hand students routes and switches and they look at it like they've never seen it before. Or when they came to the garage for the first time, hey kids, this is Linux, blank faces, problem. Right. So yeah, and thank you for all these companies listening, because let's face it, I'm a little crazy, right? Like this started in the garage, and we're moving to a 120,000 square foot facility in October, right? And you have to be sort of out of your mind to dream this big.
Well, man, you're making it happen, and you're gonna be changing and touching lives along the way. So, as I mentioned, like I'm a software engineer by trade. In college, I hated my hardware classes, frankly. Like it was just such a I was like, why do I have to do these and stuff? But I think you're really illuminating why these things are important. Because me, I was just looking to write code and, like I said, live on that layer 7, right, that application side. But you're talking about like that full stack. Right now, we're kind of like, again, been a big boom in AI. In our pre-discussion, we were talking even a little bit about quantum. Like, can you even talk a little bit about that, of where you think, do you have like opinions on where you think that could potentially be like the next frontier and the next big boom?
I promise I'm going to get into quantum, and Lord, I can do this for an hour. Don't get me started. Look me up and find my chat on activity on my quantum hour talk. But before I get into that, I just want to make one thing straight. When we started this, I told them when I walked into the classroom, because I guest lecture in Morehouse now too, we cannot be just 5 guys from Morehouse doing this, right? It needs to be other schools. And now I'm thinking about that sweet spot between 16 to 20, right? People who don't know what they want to do, didn't like college or whatever, right? Or didn't attend, and teaching them, right? Because we need not only network engineers, but electricians, technicians. People have to build the data centers. People have to fix the robots, right? And we're not only going to do this in Atlanta, but cross country. We're already looking at sites in Brooklyn, Houston, Orlando, like we were talking about pre-call. Now, let's talk about something that I truly love. And I love all this, by the way. I feel like I'm back in school because I have to stay ahead of the students. So, epic learning myself. The first time I saw quantum computing 2 years ago, I knew it was it, right? Because as a data and AI solution engineer, you always talk about encrypting the data, keeping it safe in terms of somebody getting access to it. And now what you're saying with quantum safe cryptography, I don't have time to talk about Shor's algorithm and all that jazz. You have to look it up yourself. But basically, they can crack encrypted data like that, right? RSA encrypted data like that. When I don't even know the latest term. Let's say Q day comes, right? Quantum advantage day comes. I knew that was it. So basically, when you talk about regular computers like we're using right now, you're talking about zeros and ones, right? Quantum computing goes by the laws of nature as opposed to electricity, right? So what they have is called qubits, right? Which could be a 0 or a 1, right, in terms of bits. So think of it as a penny spinning on the table, right? It could be 0, it could be 1, it could be 0, 1, 1, 0, it could be anything. When you put your hand down on the table, right, and stop it, you have what's called a superposition or an entanglement. Shout to Jada Pinkett Smith. Where the two, that's the only time I've ever heard the word.
Right. It's most of our introduction to that word, yeah.
the two combined, and you don't know what state it might be in, but can go about assisting you with a problem you might not have thought about. So let me give you an example, because that can be a little abstract. Some people think that quantum computing is going to replace AI. It's not. It's quantum computing with AI with a high performance computing, right? Mm-hmm. So, for example, the use case where they snatch lithium out the air, right, out of the atmosphere, which is what I talk about in my Afrotech talk. To me, that's amazing, right? They combined AI and quantum, and basically the quantum was like a flashlight that helped. The AI was like a flashlight that helped the quantum find the needle in the haystack, basically finding the lithium in the atmosphere, right? And so if they can do this at scale, there's been some, controversy because they don't open source their stuff, and if other physicists can't see it, they won't agree, right? Mm-hmm. Of whether they can do this at scale, but if they can, forget it. Lithium powers everything that we do, right? Mm-hmm. And is horrible for the environment, as we know, right? Ex China. So that's just one use case that quantum computing might solve. They've been doing stuff with bond trading, a lot of organic chemistry, right? Mm-hmm. Especially like rust on plane wings and stuff like that. So let me stop there. I hope I'm clear, right? Quantum computing can solve problems that we might not even know exist yet and are far beyond the capabilities of a normal computer. But the problem is they're unstable, right? You have to keep them in what they call a distillation refrigerator that looks like a golden chandelier, and keep them at the coldest temperatures on Earth. But if what they're saying is right, by 2029, we can see some quantum hardware already in data centers. And I'm really curious to see, we were just talking about the qubits, right? Think of it as two mice going through a maze at one time and proactively searching problems in your data center before they happen. Flashlight to metal to in a needle in a haystack, like the lithium use case. And that really, really excites me.
Yeah, that's incredibly exciting stuff. And I think that's where it's incredibly important what you're doing with AARI is preparing those students for when that time comes. Like it's one of those things where, yeah, especially in the mainstream, by the time we learn about something, it's already been exposed to a bunch of other people, right? People who are in the know. Just like, you think about with ChatGPT, right? I think even though I would call myself an early adopter, I think I first became aware of it in like late 2023, but it was already GPT-3 at that point, So I think what you're doing with AARI is incredibly important to have students prepared for that. And I know
let me give a quick shout out to Wesley Sims, Director of Physics and Dual Degree Engineering at Morehouse College. As soon as I learned about quantum computing 2 years ago, I went right back to Morehouse College and told the students about it. No one knew what I was talking about, right? And now the students are coming and parents are requesting it, talking about it, and we're going to pair with him to teach in terms of quantum mechanics and have a live sort of capstone of hands-on building, because as we talk about all the time, we cannot be left behind again, right? You have to skate towards where the puck is going early, and that's what we're trying to do.
I love that, man. And I know we're getting closer to the half hour point. I want to ask two more questions. One is, how can people learn more and get involved with AARI? And then lastly, can you give us a sneak peek or like a preview of the talk that you'll be doing this year at Render ATL?
Absolutely. You can go to the website and donate. It's Atlanta-robotics.org. Hopefully somebody can put that in the chat, but it's Atlanta-robotics.org. And then we're in Benevity for corporate matching, right, in terms of gifts. So that too. Sneak peek for the talk, August the 12th. You have to own your stack, right? If you're on Meta all the time, Facebook, Instagram, or what have you, and not building an app by yourself and putting it out there to get money, you are now an AI consumer and helping build Llama, right? If something's free, you are the data source, right?
Yep.
I'm going to show a chart of the richest Black Americans in the country, and you see a thread right between them. Secondly, generative AI is not coming for your job. Let's stop the foolishness, right? Like, respect to the Armaday siblings. I love Anthropic, anybody I've ever met. But he's been saying, AI can do all the software engineering in 6 months for the past 2 to 3 years. And I noticed that the guy who's on his conduct of Anthropic was with OpenAI, and used to say the same thing about ChatGPT. It's so dangerous, we can't release it. But now you're seeing all the companies like hiring people back, right? Overestimating what generative AI could do, right? Horrible code in production, all kind of security gaps. And even if you had a mythos that could help you expose security gaps, you have to know how to do it. Mm-hmm. Right? So just know when AI CEOs say that, they're talking to Wall Street speculators. Mm-hmm. And we need to get into finance and start learning about free cash flow, because that's sort of the canary in the coal mine in the 10K report of where companies are going. And just know that it's a lot more polite to say, we want to eliminate more layers of middle management or get closer to the customer, than your salary is not as important as a silicon chip. So therefore, we have to move resources. Silicon to salary, that's all that's happening. AI is taking our jobs, all right, but not in the way that we thought.
Man, again, appreciate you for saying that, because there's hype, there's marketing, and then that's where it's really happening. There's reality, right? And I appreciate you cutting right through those first two and getting to the reality of it. So I for one can say I'm super looking forward to your talk at the conference, and I hope people in the audience are as well, because I think, again, in just these 30 minutes, you've dropped a lot of gems on us. And so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what else that you can, share at the conference. So I know we're almost at time. I will say, if someone has maybe I can take 1 or 2 questions from the comments.
Sure.
But
let's go.
Yeah, man.
And let me tell you something else while you're doing that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah. I do have a master's in AI, but you don't need to be an expert in this. I'm going to show some of the quote experts who know nothing, right? All you need is a curious mind and be hungry and humble.
Yeah, I love that. I would say, again, like I said, cut into the real. AI has reduced the barrier to entry for some things, right? And I think if you do have a curious mind, it allows you to really explore, prototype, iterate on these different ideas. But I totally agree with you, is that, like, expertise is not outdated. I think that was some of the dream that some people were telling us, but like, expertise still matters. Like those things are not going away. So again, I appreciate you just bringing your perspective to that.
If we go a couple of minutes over, I want to make sure I take 1 to 2 questions. I'm good if you want to do that.
Yeah. So anybody in the chat, any questions? We would love to take 1 or 2. Okay, we got one from Milton saying, where should someone start if they want to learn more?
In terms of us or robotics or what? I guess just us in general?
Milton, if you want to expound on that, so we can get you the most accurate answer.
And shout out to Milton, by the way. He's my co-chair in Blacks in Robotics in Atlanta.
Shout out to Milton. So he said robotics, quantum, etc.
Gotcha. Okay, bear with me. Salute to Reverend Norris at Morehouse, the only one who was actually patient with me to teach me linear algebra. Right. So my chain goes like this: fractions, or even multiplication fractions, however you want to do it. Algebra. Algebra. calculus, linear algebra, physics. The things that open up doors to me, especially in terms of quantum computing, is qubits act in a certain way because this is the underlying math underneath, right? Like a geometry of block sphere, right? All IT is linear algebra at scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get those underlying math foundations, and it will open up the world to you. Thank you for the question, Milton. That's where I would start.
Awesome, awesome. Oh man, we got a few rolling in. So again, don't know how much time you have, but we got like 3 or 4 rolling in.
I'll give you 5 to 10. I don't think I'm in the box today because I'm a little sore.
All right, perfect. All right, so we got another one that says from Margot, how can young people start making engineer careers?
Build something and sell it. one of the things that the things you have to do if you want to be involved with the crew is start a business. It doesn't have to be technical, right? But put it out there, deal with some of the things that come up, right? And that way, by the time you get to college, if that's what you want to do, right, you can say, hey, I did this as a teenager. Or flip side, right? Because we want as many entrepreneurs as possible. But some are going to go into research, some are going to go into industry, right? But I think it's important to get hands-on and start building as early as possible, right? And then put a business out. No fear. It doesn't work, so what? You learned and did it again. I read something the other day by Thomas Edison saying he never had 100 steps that failed in the light bulb filament. It was just 100 steps to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Fail early, fail often.
That's a good one. I can even know I had to change over mindset. I used to almost have this fear of failure, right? But failure is just part of the process.
How was you going to learn? Right?
Agreed. So got another one. How easy is it to pivot into robotics for someone from another industry or specialty? And they said they go on to follow up says, as a cybersecurity analyst, where should I start?
Everything needs to be secure, right? I would start there, right? Infrastructure, right? And let me break down what infrastructure is, right? Because I know it's very nebulous depending on who you're talking to. Connecting A to B, right? I won't mention the company, but they felt like that networking would be virtualized, right? And AI has proved that to be a lie. Right? You need to still have secure, reliable, repeatable data pipelines, right? Because AI is fed off of data, right? So I would look into infrastructure, cybersecurity in terms of robotics and securing environments, right? Because a lot of it's computer vision, and you have to do that stuff as well. So that's 2. And then just build a robot, right? Like. I feel like that everybody's waiting for that great like pusher. What should I do? You will always, and I mean always, find me tooling around with things. My Raspberry, Jetson Nano, always tool around with things and building them live in person, and that's the only way you're gonna learn, right?
Yeah, great answer. Like a great insight. Again, I'll do like a couple more, so I can let you go and get your rest today. How does one get involved with the internship / mentorship that AARI has to offer?
Okay, so 2 lanes, right? Currently is where we started, right? We started with where we knew, Morehouse College. And by the way, salute to my other partners. Like I said, Dorian is a senior solution architect with Palo Alto. Nick and Dave are senior solution engineers with Red Hat. So we started with where we knew. But basically, at the end of the day, this is a data pipeline, right? So you have to find out where you can come in. We have camps for younger children, right, where you can enter through KedKong, salute to him as well, and RoboCon, through the Best Buy camp or what have you. If you're an adult and a college student, reach out to us. 16 to 20, as mentioned, we're coming. Microsoft already has the program and goes through Atlanta Technical College. That's another way to go. I spoke to Mr. Daly today. We're coming, and we're going to be teaching there. So that's another avenue. And I'm really big on that, right? It can't just be Morehouse students, people there. You say it looks elitist. We're coming and meeting the people where they are. I know there's a lot of young people who are confused right now, and our job is to unconfuse them. So those are 3 ways you can enter the pipeline, depending on where you're at in the journey.
Got you. And this last one is actually 2 different questions, but I'll try to combine them because they're kind of coming from the same viewpoint, just different career stages, I can say. One was like, how would someone who's in mid-level careers who wants to pivot, what would you recommend for them? And then the second question, like I said, kind of combining, they're asking more from like the college student. So they're getting ready for engineering masters coming from a CS undergrad. Is higher ed still worth it?
That second one irks my soul. How real am I going to keep it? Okay. Repeat the first question again, please. I'm sorry.
Pivoting, the first one.
Career.
Yes.
Okay.
They said particularly those who are not technically trained.
Okay. Ooh, there's another one I can go on forever. People, please stop saying you're not technical. Right? Especially if you're in IT, just being in that room makes you technical. And then in general, please stop saying that, because if you keep saying that, you know what you're not going to be? Not technical. Right? My friend and I started at the same time. You know what I knew about IT? Nothing. Right? I started with the masters back there for Georgia Tech because you have to speak the language, right? If you want to be involved in IT, salute to Georgia Tech. And then once you get to the table and you're able to speak the language, you have to know what you're doing, right? And so you start programming all the time and building things and breaking things and getting on GitHub and talking to others and going to places in person to let people know that you know what you're talking about. Because guess what? Look up the Workday case. AI is meant to filter you out, right? You still have to meet people face to face, right? And to your earlier point, programmers are too isolated. You have to think about the whole system. Yeah. All right. Second part, is higher ed still worth it? Yes. But in certain ways, right? I wouldn't give up the sort of infrastructure, the people I met in the AUC, for all the money in the world, right? You're not going to be exposed to those environments if you don't. Now, there's an economic question, right? Because I have my data center cohort in the cybersecurity program. Shout out to the Black Hat Society and Aaron Butler. This is X amount. Tuition is X amount, right? Which one should we do? But we're never going to say don't go to college, ever. College is the bedrock from which we stand, right? Because you need to learn that math, that application, that theory, and you need to sharpen your sword with people who are at your level or above. Like, I have yet to run into an environment, except for Morehouse, where being smart and Black was not only expected but accepted, right? And you knew if you said something crazy, either in or outside the class, you're going to get checked. Sharpen your sword. So I think all those things are needed. Now, I would ask the person who put that question in the chat, is the company paying for that master's? Right? Like, I did my master's. It was $3,000 through Microsoft. I said, let's go. Right? Then you get in there and you're like, oh, this is all foolishness. Right? There's a clear separation between computer science and network engineering. But I say that to say that you go in there and you learn, right? And you do things. So I'm never going to say, do not go to higher ed. Is it worth it? Absolutely.
But once again, Nolan, thank you. This has been an incredibly insightful conversation, just hearing you share your perspective, your knowledge with us. Again, we just want to leave the people with, like, where can they find you, both you and then information about your organization?
Oh, good. Nolan S Code. If you want to try LinkedIn or Instagram, social media, anything like that. And more importantly, because this is about me, it's about the students. The Atlanta AI and Robotics Initiative. The website's in there, I think you gave, where on Instagram, LinkedIn. Now the TikTok is American. Maybe we should go on there too. I don't want our folks in Beijing. I went to school in China, so I know we don't want to give them all our data. So those are some places that you can find us. And look, reach out. You know, we are not ivory tower. We're hands-on in the community, working with the community, teaching the community for all the love that we can muster. But we're going to be tough too.
I love to hear it, man. So again, thank you once again. As we mentioned, Nolan will be speaking at Render ATL. So hopefully that you will join us there. And thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you, and thank you for the time. Really appreciate it all.
See y'all.